Hello darlings, here we are again. This is week 4 and the final week of painting skies and flowers in perspective. But that doesn't mean forgetting the perspective exists, tempting as it may seem. Try to remember what you've learnt about it and put it into your future paintings. But today I'm going to paint a sunset and a white flower. Quite challenging and quite involved, both of them, so I'm going to do it in 2 links again and stop partway through and start up another one. All a bit challenging, but we'll see how we get on. Okay, so for my sunset I'm going to use the colours that you see here and in my palette, which is ultramarine blue and quinacridone violet, Cadbury red, alizarin crimson and Payne's grey if I feel I want to put a darker cloud in, but I'm going to see how that goes. I don't really know what's going to happen, you never do with something like this, but hopefully it will work out. So the brushes I'm going to use, my filbert I think, and possibly for any small areas that I want to put in I'll use the mop. If you've got a really large mop and you've got a huge area to cover, that works really well because it's so soft, but maybe I haven't got a large enough one here to cope with that today. As usual I've put my tape across. Must remember not to put it exactly halfway down your page, because then you're going to cut your picture in 2, whereas if you've got a lot of sky to put in, it needs to be lower than the part way through to make a lower horizon, and vice versa. If you've got a lot of sea, land or whatever, make for a smaller area for your sky. For my sunset I want to put some hills in, which I haven't drawn. But I want to put some hills in, and I want the sun setting behind the hills. You can use masking fluid to mask off an area, but I find that a little bit contrived, so I've only just thought of this, so I don't know if it will work. But I've actually just put a little bit of taped a little bit of card there, or paper, to remind me that I don't want to put water there and leave that little area quite dry. Okay. So I'm wetting the whole sky area as before, right down to the horizon. As I said, leaving a little space here for my nice dry area for where my sun is going to set behind the hills. We'll see if that works. So tipping can tell me if I've gone everywhere with the water, and I want to touch it as little as possible, so it does need to be wet all over so that I get nice colours, one floating into the next. I'm going to put yellow down first, nice bright yellow, and you can use whatever colours you want to use. You don't have to use what I have used, but I thought if I put the yellow down first, and it is going to be softened by the water underneath, so it might not be as bright as this, but actually you can go as bright as you like with the sunset. So that when I put the red on, it's going to turn slightly orange, and when I put the alizarin on, it will turn a sort of deeper sort of orangey red. But my whole thing that I must really remember is not to put any ultramarine over this, because it's going to turn green, certainly not at the moment. So cleaning my brush, and I've left a little patch up there to put a little bit of ultramarine up there first. So there's a little tiny bit of blue sky popping in the side there, so that we know that there was a blue sky at some point. But putting a little bit of purple over that too would actually really look nice. So I'm actually going to just let these colours blend nicely. It can go quite dark at the top there, so I'm going to put some alizarin in there as well and let that. I'm just going to push some of that yellow away before it dries completely, because I don't want, I want a lovely light patch there and I want it to look as natural as possible. But if you do it too soon, it just closes in. That's why I've dropped that in now. It's still a bit wet really, but it's softened around that area that I wanted to leave light. So we'll see if that works. But look, this is lovely. What's happening there now? It's starting to run down. And if you want your sky to be lovely and bright, you're going to have to put more pigment in. So don't be afraid to really go for it with with this sunset. And where the sun is burning off the clouds, I'm going to try and leave that area nice and yellowy. Bring a nice little bit of cloud in the side here. So when these colours mingle on here, they actually do end up making nice. You can sort of put the blue over the purple, which will make it darker still. Nice little areas of dark cloud as well. But I want to leave that lovely little light area where the sun is burning off the clouds. You can tip if you want to, or use a block. Quite like what's happening. So I'm actually going to bring it down lighter now onto the horizon. Clean water to push this away again a bit more. Go back up there with the blue. While it's still wet, you see, you can go back in and just bring up any colours that you feel might have gone a little bit too light. You have a certain amount of time while it's still drying. Bring this pink down a little bit. Right, I think I can take that off now. So I've got that lovely light area. And I'm not going to see exactly what I've got until it dries up a bit more. But a few darks won't hurt. So don't be afraid of it. And again, as I suggested last week, why not make yourself a nice production line of papers, all one after the other, and then just try these techniques. Quite like to force it a little bit here and tip it and put a little bit of water so that you're getting a little bit of blending there, so it isn't a perfect shape. Well, that's not bad. So I think I'm going to leave it at that. It's quite a nice looking sky, and I've got my area there for putting in. Maybe I need to just go dark up in this corner as well. Still do it, you see, while it's still wet. I think that's made quite a nice balance by putting that up there. What you don't want is same thing happening one side exactly as you have the other. So I'm going to have to put the hairdryer just at least on this area here because I want to put the heels in. And it must be dry for doing that. I think that's enough, so I can leave the tape on there and get a nice dark green perhaps, because it could be dusk, and so therefore everything that you might put in from now on can have a certain depth to it and not show up in the same way as in complete daylight. So if I just now put my nice heels in, what I'm going to get is the lovely colours that I've already put down showing through, which really does look quite nice. Put a little bit of red back on that one here, so let's have another one here. Don't worry about going over the one you've just done, or in fact don't worry about going on the tape. That's quite distant, that one there. And then maybe how about some darker ones at this side. Nice actually to pop a little bit of red in because that's reflecting down from the sky, but don't touch it too much. Yes, got some nice colours in those hills now. Let me take that tape off. I just dropped some water back on there, so you're going to have to be careful of things like that. Got another sun now. So what I'm going to have to do with that, when I put my brush down, I just dropped some water on there and it's made a mark, taking the colour out. So leave it to dry and then fix it up afterwards. Okay, so that's really all there is to the sky, and nice hills with some sun reflecting back down. If you want to, you can put a little bit more yellow there. What's going to happen if I do that using a soft brush, just to make it a little bit more, make it show up a little bit more and a little bit brighter. But the more you touch it, the worse it's going to get. So try not to do too much of that kind of thing. I've just gone over that hill, but I think it'll be alright. So be careful about all that kind of thing. So then you can actually reflect some water, reflect this sky back down into the water, using similar colours to the colours that you already have, but maybe keeping it very simple, or you can in fact put more colour in, whatever suits you. But really, where you've got the yellow, it's got to reflect back down into the water. So I'm just going to really be very loose and just create some colour into the water. But you could make it into land. It doesn't have to be like this at all. It can be land. You can make it into a little scene. Could be some greenery going on down here, whatever you decide. All sorts of things can go on in the bottom area, so that's really not important at the moment. I want you to practice a nice sky, but I'm trying to reflect similar colours down into the water that I see into the sky. And let the hills dry before you do any of this, which I hadn't had time to really do. Bring a little bit of the colour through, perhaps, just to break up. There's some water. Nice, shiny, coloured water. Okay. Then you can do all sorts of other things to it that you might feel you'd like to do. Here's one I did earlier, which has got a little bit of land here and some reeds at the side and a busier piece of water. There's also one here, I don't know if you can see that one, which I did use the masking fluid on there, so that is a possibility, but I don't love it. It's a little bit contrived, but you know, easier. And again, nice patch of yellow there. Some rocks, and this was Corfu. So there's Spiros when he was a little boy. Okay, so that's something else that you could actually maybe try to put some silhouettes or something in the foreground. Right, I'm going to stop now and get ready to paint my white flower, and I'll be back with you in a minute. Thank you.